You know, you saw a post asking a question, can these bones live? I'm in Miami, where I was born and raised. And I don't know if you've ever been away from home for a very long time, and you come back and you can't recognize them. It's jaw-dropping. It's different. When I think about my life, when I left here, I had a youth program, and I was working with youth in Liberty City, where I was born in an abandoned building on the floor. And I teach people live a life of no regrets. One of the things that I regret that I didn't come back and do the training with kids that I was engaged in Liberty City after my training was interrupted by Janet Reno, who was encouraged to cast aspersions on my character because they thought I would get funding that their program would not get in Coconut Grove. One of the reasons that we don't have the kind of training that's sustainable and impactful for our children. Those in leadership, one, they don't know that they don't know. Two, they fight and argue over who's going to get the money. And three, they also argue about who will get the credit. So I developed a strategy, my training program, that I would train people, volunteer. And the people in the community would be the people driving it. It would not be around a personality. Some things happen to you and you realize they happened for you. And as a result of that interruption, I turned down the offer of renewing my program. And I said, I'm going to go on the road. I'm going to travel around the world. And using the things that I was teaching these young people, apply those in my own life and demonstrate that they work. And after I earned my first million, which took me 3 years, I'll come back and do the program myself with no funds from the city. After I made my first million, I said, this is good. And I didn't look back. And I kept going because I went to various organizations, the NAACP, the Urban League, churches all over the country, and they're saying, well, we like your program, but you're not teaching young people about Jesus. I said, listen, you teach them about Jesus. I teach the message that Jesus taught. You sell the messenger. I sell his message. And if what you were doing was working so well, I wouldn't be here. But the truth of the matter, they weren't looking at how do we begin to create a self-development program that will give young people a positive image of themselves. They were vehemently opposed to that. They wanted me to teach young people Jesus will fix it. Jesus said, these things ye shall do, and greater things shall ye do. I'm 77 now. Can these bones live? A good friend drove me through Overtown and Liberty City. Nothing like when I came along. Can these bones live? question. Good question. Can these bones live? The powers that be ran an expressway through a town in Liberty City to disrupt the voting bloc and the businesses. We had our own theaters, own shops, own stores, everything. Expressway. They could have gone further east down the railroad track and built that expressway, but they deliberately wanted to interrupt that voting bloc and that economic power. Like Wall Street didn't just take place in Oklahoma. No. Take place all over the country to this day. Here's what I know at 77. The ones that control the wealth, which is 1%, they create barriers that help the rich get richer and the poor get poor. And the ones, people like myself, who break out in spite of, you gotta be hungry. That's what my new book entitled. You get it on Amazon. You got to be hungry. Racism ain't going nowhere. It's unfair world in which we live in. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do. What do you want to do with your life? We have an expiration date. I'm talking to the friend who's driving me, and she said one of the things that she looked at her life, she said her significant other, before he passed, was trying to prepare her, and she said she didn't want to hear. And one of the things she's going to speak about is pay attention. The reason that the 1%, after years, centuries of being empowered, and those numbers have not increased, because of ignorance and because of the 99% are divided by politics and religion. Ignorance, politics, and religion keeps us at each other's throats while they focus on the money, while they follow the money. The orange man, his children have made millions, and still are. The rich are getting richer now. The poor are getting poor because of how the system is structured. The culture that we live in now, a culture of violence. But cultures are created by people. A culture of violence and poverty created by people. And they can be changed by people. Can these bones live? Yes, absolutely. And the secret is to maintain commitment. Maintain commitment. Through all the frustrations, through all the disappointment and setbacks, to build a mental resolve, have a thirst for learning. You got to unlearn and relearn and relearn to increase your value and to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Can these bones live? Well, you know, Quincy Jones is a prophet. He had a song years ago. He said, everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Johnny, how are you? I love you. That's my spiritual son, Johnny Wimber. From the Hood to Doing Good. That's a good book. That's relevant today. When 1 out of 4 African-American males have been incarcerated, have a criminal background, gone astray. From the Hood to Doing Good. And he's a young man that's brilliant, that is living a life of contribution and living a life of impact. One of my spiritual sons. This thing called life. We woke up this morning. We're still here. And that's a blessing. My goal is to teach you how to make the rest of your life the best of your life. I know a thing or two. I've been on the planet 77 years. I know a thing or two. And I know that everybody can't hear me. Everybody can't hear me. Only the few. The road to life is straight and narrow. And few there be that find it. Because few there be that's looking for it. Majority of people just want to survive, just want to be entertained, just want to go out and buy an artificial booty. It's a booze. It's a fly swatters. And they are hooked up. They are satisfied. Oh, behave. Oh my God. You know what I've learned to do is just observe. Just watch. Watching people. It's fascinating. And you ask yourself, how can they live like that? Because that works for them. It might not work for you, but it works for them. And it's none of your business. It's none of my business. Mamie Brown, my adopted mother, said, "Oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business." Like this page and share it. I'm going to drop something on you right now. I want you to listen. Each day when you get up, I want you to declare, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you." I want you to say to yourself, "Lord, this is going to be the best day of my life." And then I want you to get still and say, "Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth thee." And then say, "Here's what I'm going to do today that will make it the best day of my life today. And here's what I'm going to learn today that I did not know yesterday." You got to be intentional. You got to write it down, focus on it, get a 3x5 card, and write what it is you want out of this day. Put on the flip side, Matthew 7:7, "Ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be open." Life is for living. Make it your business. Get serious about this thing called life. I'm just thinking about just life in general and my life in particular, and his life. That in terms of our eyes, we're taught to judge according to appearances, as opposed to judge not according to appearances. It might appear that his life was short, but he made some impact to those of us who love him and still do. And I think that life, it serves us notice that there's a song that Celeste Johnson, a business partner, she sings, live each day. To live each day. Some people have a day, have a week, have 20 years, 40 years. In my case, I'm in my 77th year on the planet. And what it has done for me, I get to, with the time that I have left, to honor him with the life that I have left, to live full and to live this life empty, to live the rest of my life 100% for God, to be of service. I know he would want me to continue to change lives. And that's what I've been reflecting on. Sometimes we unconsciously, we sideline ourselves. We put ourselves on the bench because of age. And Matthew's life, he made an impact on me because it stirred something up in me that God said to me, "You're still here. I didn't call you out of the game. I didn't put you on the bench. There's more in you. You still have something else to give, something else in you that you have not expressed. That's why you're still here, because of my grace and mercy. Not to be on the couch, not in front of the television set. There's some lives that you're supposed to touch. Some people you're supposed to inspire. Some people that you're supposed to train. I'm not playing with you. Gotta get back out there." And this it's I always, when something happens, I ask, God, what am I supposed to do with this? And what I'm supposed to do is say thank you for the time that we spent with Matthew and opening my eyes to take it to another level. And what I want to say to you, I don't know you, but as the saying goes, live each day, and as if it were your last. Things are happening that we never anticipate in this day and age. It's like a repeat. When the forces of evil say, take our country back, they're talking about not taking it back politically, but turning back the hands of time. And people of conscience, of morals, people who have awareness, we ought to take a stand for generations that are being born today and generations yet unborn. Tanya Brown, who is Cedric Brown's wife, no relation, but she said, this is a time for us to be visible, to be vocal, and to be vigilant, to be involved. this thing called life. Or, remember that song by Dimples? If it ain't one thing, it's another. And so, the three things that I like to reflect on, that dropped in my spirit, as Dwight Pleasure would say. One, do what matters. Do the things that matter. Avoid unnecessary drama. Life will bring you enough drama by itself. All you have to do is just keep living. All you have to do is just keep waking up. You won't get a knock on the door. And life will say, it's your time now. It's your time now. You can say, who, me? Yeah, why me? I don't know, but it's your time now. And somebody said that life is like an onion. You have to peel it one layer at a time. And sometimes you cry. And I know that to be true. I know that to be true. Just connected with my birth family. Some of them were glad, but some weren't. To know me, because I was a secret. My brother and I, we were a secret. And it's painful to be rejected. If you choose to embrace it as being painful, or say to yourself, it is what it is. Whatever. And keep it moving. Don't buy into it. So that's one thing. You have to keep it moving and do your best with what you have. Next thing is, as I reflect on this my 77th year on the planet, not only doing what matters, but live the life that you. My oldest son says something that I had not thought about. He said, Dad, we've been living a blessed life. And when I think about how I got here, through effort, through time, and through doing something that's me, I encourage you to do that. Put effort and time in something that's you. Work harder on yourself than on a job. Put the energy on you. Life has no duplicate, and it has no guarantees. Live it on your terms. I wanted to see the world before I left the world. I've been probably to over 50 to 75 countries. And I believe, like Helen Keller, she said, life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. I truly have not lived a boring life. I got my entrepreneurial mindset, my community activist mindset, my seeing myself as an ambassador of hope from my mother, Dorothy Bell Rucker, and Beulah Rucker. And I got having a good time from this dude named Doc Oliver Randolph. That was my father. So that's the only story I heard about him. Okay. I got the best of them and the worst of him. They say he was a clean-cut dude. I mean, he dressed meticulously, and he was a handsome dude, and he was a ladies' man. That's the only stories I heard about him. I have heard a now other story, as Baba would say. But my birth mother, Dorothy Bell, oh my God. She was a teacher, she was a singer, she taught Sunday school, Bible classes, she was a motivational speaker, she inspired and motivated people. She's a bad lady. She was something else, all right? And so I got the best of her and the worst of him. So I'm glad to still be here to serve God and to live a life that's my truth, the real me, not the one that I bought into based upon my environment and my circumstances and things I picked up in the streets. The real me, and living a life of contribution. Made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of failures, a lot of disappointments. But I'm like the lady who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be, ain't what I'm going to be, and thank God, I sure ain't what I was. And I'm scooting my way to success. My son John Leslie, he's come up with this new concept, scoot your way to success. And so, the other thing is, not only must you do what matters, avoid creating unnecessary drama, do what's you, do you, find something that resonates with your heart and master it, master it. But the other thing that's important too, and please listen to me closely, be on a talent hunt. A talent hunt, looking for people who have skills, who have talents, who have abilities that you don't have, who are strong where you are weak. That's important. This is no time to try and do this thing called life by yourself. No time. You want to organize a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Become involved with a community of people that's going in your direction. That's why we started Hungry to Speak. And I've got a new group I've started, and if you're interested in, it's called Less at let me write it. I just started this, and I came up with this concept because I want to work with a small group of people, and then I can coach up close and personal, like my mother did. I've been talking to people, did some interviews with people from Gainesville, Georgia, who she coached and mentored, and one of them, she's an evangelist and happened to be a grand cousin on my father's side. And so I'm going to do that. I said, you know what? I want to do that. She was among a small group of kids that she worked with. And she's been telling me stories about my mother that I found fascinating. And she said, there's no way anybody who saw you and been around you can deny that you are Dorothy Bell's son. If you're interested in being coached by me, just reach out to me, Les at coachmelesbrown.com. coachmelesbrown.com. I talked to a grandniece day before yesterday, and I said, do you think that my birth mother, Dorothy Bell, did she ever see me on public television or when I had my talk show? She said, She said, I remember when I was 12 years old, and when they introduced you on television, my Aunt Carrie, which was my mother's sister, asked, Dorothy, how do you feel when you see your boy on television? How do you feel when you're looking at your son? We've seen him several times now. And I asked, what did she say? And she said she just held her hand up just for Carrie to be quiet until the end of your presentation. And she said, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I said, wow. What are the chances that you were there on that day than you and I having this conversation? Look at God. So I know she saw me. I know she was aware of who I became. I don't believe it, I know it, because now I have people that can verify that. When you're adopted, it's like a missing piece to the puzzle, you know? Dorothy Bell, she gave me life, but Mamie Brown taught me how to live life. But there are things that's in me. When I look in the mirror, because of the pictures that I've seen of my birth mother, I can't see but anything but her face. Say, oh my God, there she is. And I've always wanted it to. I said, God, let me see a picture. Let me hear a voice. Now, I have a recording of her doing a poem, and I have a picture of her, and I look at that picture, and I look at me. I said, it'd be criminal for her to say, that's not mine. I look like she made me all by herself. So I got my song, y'all heard it. I got two mothers and I'm not ashamed. I've got two mothers and I love them just the same. This thing called life. So I was just reflecting. Find something that's you and give it all you have. Live life on your terms. Make yourself stand out. And do what matters. Don't get caught up in the trivial things of life, the busyness of life. Sometimes we can get so busy we think we're being productive, and all we're doing is wasting time. Time is a currency. And do some deep thinking and reflection of who you should be in and out of the pandemic. What does the next greatest version of yourself look like? That's what I'm reflecting on. That's what I'm thinking about. Pouring all that life into the life that my great-grandson Matthew did not get to live. I'm sure he's sitting on the other side with Malik. Go get him, Papa. That's what my grands call me, Papa. I don't know you, but I know this to be true. You're here for a purpose. You were chosen at this point in time to do the greater work, to create a better world for our children and for our children's children, to plant seeds for trees that we will not sit under and gather shade. Because we're here because somebody made a sacrifice. People went to jail, they lost their lives, stripped of everything. So you're not here by any accident, and if you're still breathing, not taking a dirt nap, if you can hear me, God has something else for you to do. I don't know how, don't worry. Just make yourself available and say, here I am, Lord. Just say yes, as Shekinah Gloria would say. And just pour yourself into the mindset of, Lord, rescue me from myself. Deliver me from myself so that I can live for you. Liberate me. Point me in the direction of my exodus, as Donald Lawrence would say.
In Michael's book, he has a book called Average Sucks. And he's a great speaker, and he's a trainer, and he's a coach, and he's really good at many things. And in the book, he talks about food, and I was using this as a metaphor towards real, sincereness versus faking it, right?
Yeah.
And so the way he talks about food is there's food that is addiction, which would be donuts and sugar and fat and just like unhealthy food. The second would be entertainment, which is what most restaurants would be. And then there's nutrition. And I look at people that way too. There's speakers and there's coaches and there's marketers that are, they're not good. I mean,
talkers.
It tastes good, but it's, it's kind of like a shit cake.
May I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
So do you mind?
Go ahead.
Your book is entitled, what's your first name?
Average Sucks, Michael Bernoff.
Michael?
Yeah.
You said average sucks.
Yep, not sex, sucks, yeah. Sometimes people...
I will be praying for you, Michael. All right. Michael, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you go back and look at your life, you 4 or 5, who's somebody that you admired that really impacted how you see yourself?
How I see myself?
Yes, somebody that you saw, that you admired, that you say, wow, they made you feel safe, made you feel good. And because of their character, because of how they treated you, because of their example, they influence you in becoming the person that you are now. Who's that person?
I've had a ton of them, I would say.
I'm talking about when you're around 5 or 6. You
5 or 6 years old?
Yeah, who was the closest person, your reference group?
Literally I was at a family event, and there was a cousin. It was a one-time meeting. It was a cousin. He came in for a funeral and literally just said something to me. He said, you don't have to always listen to everything your parents say. You can be anything that you want to be. And I remember hearing this at a weird age. He's about 8 years older than me. And he said this to me, and I remember those words to this day. I had a couple interactions with this gentleman.
Okay, hold just a minute.
Yep.
Pump your brakes. Now I want you to listen to the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you can be anything you want to be. Do that right now, please.
That's good. You can be anything you want to be. That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I went to a funeral, and they said coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. And I ran into a cousin of mine, and he said that to me. He said, you can be anything that you want to be. I was going through an experience at this time, trying to find my footing in life. How many of you had some moments in your life trying to make sense of and say, what is this all about? You remember those moments when you question yourself? And he affirmed me. And so I want to share with you some things I learned from my cousin. Now,
That's good.
that goes different than average sucks, because you're assuming that I'm average or he's average. We're not, so you blocking a lot of people. But when you say you can be anything you want to be, Maslow said the number one thing that people want is self-actualization. So now you're affirming people, and things I learned from my cousin, you now are in that category. People go online to find out information. How did you get to where you are? And what did you learn from your cousin? You want to create the want to, that they want to know, what did you learn from your cousin? Because you got some secrets that you learned that allowed you to become the person that you are now, to die to who you were, to give birth to who you are now. And you've decided that you can be anything you want to do. His words when he spoke to you, that went to your heart and you carried it all these years. He didn't say to you, average sucks. And so the reason I ask you that question, I work with people to get what's in your heart. Average sucks. That's a head thing. You can be anything you want to be. People need to know that in the face of the pandemic, in the face of artificial intelligence, in the face of the statistics that over 350 million people that will be unemployed because of artificial intelligence, you'll say you can be anything you want to be. I'm not saying that there will be 350 million people who will lose their jobs. My cousin taught me that 350 million people didn't lose their jobs. 300 million people have been freed up so they can become entrepreneurs to control their own destiny. It was said by one philosopher that things may happen to you and things may happen around you, but the things that really count are the things that happen in you. You can do anything you want to do. You can create your own economy. This is a new place of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. You've got greatness in you. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. My cousin was right, and because of those words he spoke to me, I redefined myself. Because of what he said to me, my life was never the same again. Because of what my cousin said to me, I decided to become an ambassador in life and encourage people to pursue their dreams rather than live their fears.
Solid. Okay. I like it. And then I think marketing and all market research, that's a whole other conversation. So,
But you see what I did with that?
yeah, I like that.
How many of you?
Yeah.
Now, do you see the difference? Yeah. Raise your hand if you see the difference in what I'm talking about. Yes.
You know,
I got a funny story for you after this.
Well, here's just to bring it up, Andre, don't go away. So the power of relationships. So how many years ago now was it, Andre, that Michael Burnoff and Cameron Harold and then John Rulin said, to you, you need to meet this dude. I happen to be in. So, do you know Andre Norman by chance?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a black thing.
What's it? Yeah, it's a black guy. He's trying to bring all the black people together. So,
but it's something different.
So, I mean, it seems to me, so we're recording this conversation. It seems to me that all these incarcerated individuals that you're in charge of this program to putting, content on 650,000 tablets that are in prisons for people that are incarcerated would be very valuable for them to hear a conversation like this.
1,000%.
Yeah. And because, when you're in a position like that, the thing that incarceration does for most people is they usually don't come out better. They usually come out worse. And they now have they now have an identity of a convict. They have an identity that I fucked up, I'm a loser, whatever. The interesting thing on the stats are there's 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. We're the highest incarcerating country in the world. 25% of the world's prisoners are in the United States, and 80 to 90% of everyone arrested or thrown in jail, drugs and alcohol were involved. And 40% of people that are incarcerated, committed some sort of violent crime, which is a different discussion. 60% have not. So there's a lot of addicted people that are incarcerated. And putting people into a punitive system, you can't punish pain out of people, is really damaging. And it's not just the incarcerated people, the 2.2 million people. For every person incarcerated, there's a whole family unit and relationships that are attached to that person. So there's there's an opportunity to change that person so that they can get out and become an Andre Norman, because many people do not. And I would have never met Andre if it wasn't for Michael or Cameron or John. So it's a relationship thing. And when I heard his story, I was like, I want to be helpful to this individual. And it was supposed to be for like 5 months. It's now been 5 years.
It's crazy.
And he's saved lives, and we've done a lot of stuff. And here we are with people with skills and talents and abilities, everyone here. And through a mechanism here, he's now in a position where I think by the end of this year, there'll be like 1 million tablets that delivers education and content to people. And that's one of the things he's in charge of. And he's an incredible speaker. If he would have not at some point figured out, I want to go and address people, I want to teach them, you don't have to go down the path I did. It is all through speaking. Just like Joel Weldon. I mean, speaking is the vehicle. It is the mechanism to getting messages and inspiration out to people. And you can make a lot of money doing it. But that conversation you had with my friend Rick is worth a lot. That guy is a multimillionaire. He is rich as hell. It wasn't about money. It was about what it did for his mindset, And so the ability to speak and influence and persuade goes way beyond a business. I mean, it's what you can either, Hitler was a powerful orator. It's what you do with it that makes a difference.
Hitler is doing something we're witnessing now. People who have great presentation skills are able to create an experience. It's one thing to speak and people hear you. It's something else when you speak, people feel you. That's a different dynamic. Yeah. So he was a master communicator. The people that make that transformation, it's like Norman. It was not just the speaking. Norman died. If a man to gain his life, he must lose his life. Norman, who went to prison, he was liberated when he got out, even before they released him, because he got a new identity. Yeah. Once your life has a new identity, people that we work with, the people that are part of our team, the people that we are aligning ourselves with for some social good, once you have a different mindset, that gives your life a sense of purpose. And once your life has a sense of purpose, then that gives your life a sense of direction. So now, Norman is an asset to society rather than a liability. Robert Kennedy said, if we cannot save the many that are poor, we truly cannot save the few that are rich. So when we look at the smash and grabs and all the killings that are taking place, we're watching the throes of a dying beast. Something has happened. And the only way that we can take this on, cultures of violence, cultures of other, when you can put traps together and immigrants, it's one thing to talk about preventing people from coming here, but creating traps in water so they would drown and their children. That's not who we are as a country. Right. We're the greatest country on the planet. And so that cultures are created by words. And the reason that I'm committed to training people how to communicate and to create peace, I said, I'll give you perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Harmony. When we have harmony with ourselves and our spirituality, our family, our relationships, and the purpose of our lives, and joy, stuff's going to be happening. Life would be happening, but when you have a sense of spiritual strength, you are able to handle it. Jesus, he walked on water, but he went out there in a boat. And so you have to have something that when life be lifing, that you can hold on to, that allows you to say, I'm gonna be all right. And this is what you're doing now, and the relationships that people are building here. One goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by itself. And so the relationships and the sharing that people have, and building relationships, building a new reference group. They did this 85-year study at Harvard University, and they said the people who were successful had a reference group of about 5 to 7 people that they connected with, that they identified with, that they had goals and dreams and held each other accountable. The same things that you're talking about right now. This is extraordinary. This is what the Genius Network is something that needs to be replicated all across this country and around the world, because politicians won't do it and religious leaders won't do it. They keep us divided by politics and religion and keep us at each other's throats. What you're doing is that you have one agenda, and that agenda is, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You have the power to create peace. We have the power to turn to each other rather than turn on each other. We have the power to leave a legacy, and for generations yet unborn. That's what the Genius Network is all about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gracias.
Yeah.